Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Coffee Roaster Warm-Up Sessions podcast. Friends, this is take 2. Unfortunately, last week we didn't have an episode because some audio issues, and they happen rarely, but they do happen. So, unfortunately, last episode was pretty sweet. So this is our second take, but
do you think we're going to be slightly more controversial in the second take?
I don't know.
Or have we ironed out all the controversy?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. Pouring some batchy as always. Try to go a little coarser because last time we went
a
little
right.
finer. I went a little coarser
You're
this
right.
time.
Yeah.
But I think I might have overcompensated.
I mean, I would not say it's sour.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you feel like it?
Maybe it just needs to cool down. I'm not a big fan of piping hot.
It
batchy.
is piping hot.
Usually tastes much better when it's cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
So we'll see. But the unfortunate thing is, folks, last weekend we dropped this coffee, a quick little limited run of it, and announced it on the podcast. And unfortunately, that podcast episode didn't air. So it's a bummer that some of y'all podcast listeners might not have seen the quick little half-day drop. Really, literally half-day drop. So yeah, I don't know.
It's not bad.
I think I like the last brew of this a little more.
Really? I think there's just like different flavors to it, but I definitely think this is juicier, and there's a flavor coming through that I haven't tasted on it before, and I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I'm like, wait, what is that? It doesn't really hit. But is this the same roast date?
No, this is the slightly more developed one.
Oh, okay.
I think, if I remember.
I was gonna say, quote unquote, tastes like sweeter.
Friends, this is a limited run Columbia Geisha that we had, and this is part of a fun little project, which was
Big
a coffee
project.
we sourced from specifically for my wedding, and I got married like a month ago. In case y'all didn't know, haven't seen on the gram.
Wild.
I know. And that was a cool little project. It was something I've always wanted to do, and so we hit up our I don't know, friend now, I guess, Nikolai from Colombia. And I was like, yo, what do you have that's tasty? And so he sent me some samples from Colombia, and there were some tasty options, and then they were all gone and sold out. So I was like, quick, I need a replacement. And so he sent me this tasty.
Dude, that tastes like cranberry.
I told you, it's in there.
That straight up tastes like cranberry. I don't know what hit. Maybe something clicked in my brain. It tastes straight up like cranberry, like jam, like cranberry jam. Not even like, just like, maybe it's the whole quote unquote, you said more developed, but it was like, that was so vivid. That was wild. That caught me off guard.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. There's the reason why I threw it on the flavor notes. It's there.
Wow.
So and then Nikolai and Nikolai Fashion just was like, hey, we have a geisha. I'm like, I don't have time for you to ship me a sample. Sample roast it, cup it, and I was like, hey, if you think it's good, just ship it. And so we're able to solidify some Jorge Rojas Colombia Geisha, and Jorge Rojas has been on the menu before, and we've really liked his coffees. He's exceptional. We're gonna be cupping some more samples from him here
nice.
very, very soon. But yeah, this is a white honey processed geisha, really clean. Like, I would never guess that it's a white honey process.
Oh, that's delicious.
And yeah, it's very tasty. It's I wouldn't say I don't think it's like a traditional geisha. Like, there's something on it that's like, I don't know, that gives it a little interest
Yeah.
factor that doesn't just
Man, I'm gonna tell you like the flavor that lingers from this brew, and I've had that coffee enough. I dialed it in for your wedding. I like brewed it at home on AeroPress, brewed it at home on UFO batch, whatever. Maybe it's the rest in combination with the development of this coffee, but this is a very intriguing cup.
yeah.
Like one, the flavor lingers for so long, and it has a very good clean aftertaste on it, like impressively clean. And I absolutely love that like aftertaste and lingering flavor on it. I mean, I don't want to say it tastes like candied because I don't know if that's fully accurate, but the way it lingers is after eating a Jolly Rancher.
Dude,
After eating
that's what I told you.
when
That's why I keep saying that it was apple Jolly Rancher.
maybe that's why
That's
I didn't pick
exactly
up
what it is.
because now I'm picking it up. I'm like, it's the
Yeah.
lingering aftertaste that's like super like mouth coaty, almost like syrupy, but I don't want to say syrupy because syrupy tends to
Yes.
talk about coffees that are more developed. Like this is fairly light roast, like so I'm like, it shouldn't be syrupy, but it is. It's the acidity is like just proper. I mean, yes, the roasting, yes, like I feel like we've roasted it exceptionally well. But I think the green coffee on itself, like that's what stands out about it.
Yeah.
So I think Nikolai did a good job.
Yeah.
So I actually chatted with him a couple of times now on Instagram. I don't think we were friends before I posted about the geisha and then chatted with him. He's cool. He's actually has like a very stout resume and background. He's like cup tasters champion, like brewers or something. Like I was like, oh wait, that's so sick.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
He's great.
I think he's also my age, which is super
yeah.
sick.
He
Yeah.
supplied some tasty coffees for us.
Yeah.
And just always does a killer job. So, yeah, it's I'm just bummed that folks listeners of the podcast didn't get first dibs on the
true.
the coffee, but on the other hand, it sold out within half a day. I mean, we did have like a very limited amount, but it was
It's
gone.
done.
Yeah, it was gone. We probably have.
Wild.
We
I had
probably
no idea.
have. I think we have like 4 pounds left over of green, and I'm not counting that that's gonna be a good roast, but it'll be like an experimental roast.
Okay,
We can
that's
see
cool.
because
Yeah.
I mean I don't know. We dial in our smallest batch is a 6-pounder, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how 4-pounder is gonna do, so I'm not gonna count on it. But anyways, yeah, that was that. That was fun. But yeah, this episode we wanted to just talk about classic light roast myths and misconceptions that people believe. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I think people are, I don't know, some people feel passionately against light roast and have some misconceptions, but
Yeah.
any first impressions, thoughts that you'd want to share before we get
Yeah.
into our 3 light roast myths?
I think right off the bat, I would say it's funny to have to do this episode again because we've kind of thought about some of the ideas.
Yeah.
And the more I thought about it in preparation to this episode, the more of like, yeah, I would not change anything about the myths that we shared because I think for a while I also this is so hard to phrase because concepts like light roast have been evolving for such a long time. You know, we started with talking about like Nordic roast being light roast. Now there's a separation between light, Nordic, and ultra light now.
Right.
So there's a pretty big category of coffee and roast styles that we're talking about here. And I think that's one thing we didn't preface in the prequel to this episode that I think is worth prefacing. It's like not all light roasts are equal, but there is a category that people have an assumption towards that is generically light, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, number 1, light roast always tastes sour.
Yeah.
I get that all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, even if it's like a nicely dialed brew, people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, that tastes sour."
Yep.
And to a certain extent, I don't think that they're right or wrong. I think it's more of a uh, a palate thing, a taste thing,
Yeah.
perception thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think people who are commonly used to drinking darker, more developed coffees,
Yeah.
for them a little bit of acidity.
Yep.
The way they just categorize and talk about it
Yep.
is, oh, it's sour. Because
Yep.
maybe they don't have the vocab for it, or maybe just in comparison, in context,
Mm-hmm.
it tastes sour.
Yep.
But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's also a brewing thing, right? I think a lot of the times when folks who walk into a cafe that predominantly serves light roast, and it may have the cafe and the baristas may have a challenge with extracting the coffee,
That is
and
very common,
therefore,
folks.
and therefore the actual roast of the coffee gets a bad rep based on the preparation of the coffee. And I think I would say that's like, it's more than just this is more than just a myth or a misconception. It's a very, very common. Do you remember when we talked about El Limonar for a while?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that coffee was ever roasted light, maybe, but I remember specific cafes that we've had it and it was just straight up a acid bomb. And the question there is like, is that the green? Is that the roast profile? Or is that just someone under extracting an espresso?
Correct.
Like, which one is it? So it's very much so easy for someone to categorize light roast as being sour simply because something else happened in the process of delivering that beverage. And therefore it's categorized with the perspective of the roast profile.
Yeah, I think something else that's just coming to mind is, for those of you listening and who have been drinking light roast, you probably, and you're a fan of light roast, you probably don't have these misconceptions.
Yeah.
You probably don't have these myths, probably. And so that's already stating something. And so, usually people who are just coming in and interacting with light roast for the first time, or go to a cafe that, some coffee snob recommended, and they walk in and their shot or their coffee's not pulled super well, which is, again, very, very common. You will maybe have some, because you're banking on the fact that they're pulling it right, they're doing it right. I mean, it's a cafe. You're gonna walk in, you're gonna get a cup of coffee that's brewed well. That's their job.
Yeah.
But they're coming in and they're having this sour experience. And what do you think they have there? What do you think there's left to think?
Yeah.
Or other
who to
than
blame. Yeah.
Yeah, other than, hey, I walked into a cafe and the light roast tastes sour.
Yeah.
Why am I gonna drink it?
Yeah.
And fair. I don't know.
Yeah. And within that context, I would say it's also very important to note that light roast does taste brighter
Yes,
in
yes,
general.
yes.
So and there's that distinction, like you were saying, like, oh, maybe it's just a palate thing. It's not a brewing thing. It's not a roasting thing. It's a palate thing. If you've been drinking like Kirkland Signature Blend or, Starbucks Vienna Roast, if that has been your like daily driver, then even a properly extracted, exceptionally done light roast is going to taste bright. Mm-hmm. That's the very nature of it. But that's why most people love light roast, is because it doesn't have bitter, quote unquote, like bitterness. The cup is way more complex, brighter, juicier. Like a lot of elements that we love about light roast today would probably be elements that we would have a hard time with if all we drank was Vienna roast.
Right. Correct. Wow.
Yeah.
Kirkland Signature just getting wrecked on this pod. That's wild.
I never pointed fingers at whether it's good or bad, or I said it's a preference.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I think, it's very true. I think especially early in my coffee days, I think there was a real difficulty of distinguishing sourness from just acidity, just brightness, especially for coffees that are very, like, Kenyas or like really zippy guats, like they're just punching with lemon and tart and brightness and stuff. And that was a real thing that I had to kind of like figure out and just practice and learn. And then all of a sudden, when you can make that distinction, it's a lot more easier, to just enjoy light roast, but also kind of be able to tweak your brew and know what's going on in your
Yeah.
cup and in your palate. So
Yeah.
something to piggyback off of that. Number two, I think the other misconception that people believe is light roast doesn't taste good in milk.
Yeah.
And this actually, I would say, is actually a lot more common overall. Like, I know that first one might be a little bit more to people who are accustomed to drinking darker roast.
Yeah.
But I think this is a little bit more widespread.
Yep. Yep. I think one of the major things is when we say with milk, what are we talking? Are we talking about like a little, dash of half and half in your drip coffee that is light roast? Are we talking about a iced 16-ounce, latte with light roast? Like, what are we really, really talking about? So to categorize that, like, no matter what drink you're drinking, light roast is going to taste like not good is a false like idea. And then on top of that, it's also like what like, yes, what are you comparing it to? But when we're talking about like light roast in milk, are we talking about, I guess I just said that, are we talking about like strictly a latte, or are we talking about possibly a like a macchiato or something even smell like a slightly bigger, like a cortado? Like, those are all just differences that we're like, it could make or break the drink. It could make or break your preference, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think let's go there for a second. Let's get into that a little bit. So, I'm just gonna get drip coffee out of the way because that's um I think predominantly we can focus
Yeah.
on the espresso,
Right.
but
I
drip
agree.
coffee, I would agree actually, to a certain extent, because I think milk and very bright, especially very lighter roasted coffees, um, yeah, it just doesn't it doesn't blend. It doesn't blend.
Yeah.
Quite as easily.
Yeah.
You can have some milk curling or yeah, just the acidity that naturally comes through in lighter roast might struggle to pair with milk in a drip coffee. However, I do think that changes a little bit when it comes to espresso.
Yeah.
And I think light roast can definitely taste good in espresso with milk, and especially some of those smaller beverages. Those smaller beverages, if having the right proportions, can just taste very, very, very nice.
Yeah.
With something bigger like a 16 ounce or maybe even a 12 ounce, but like a 16 ounce, light roast does sometimes struggle to come through. So your beverage might taste a little like lacking
Yeah.
the coffee flavor if you're going for that. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it tastes bad.
Yeah. And I like how you said like light roast pairing with milk. And that's literally, I think, how people should approach that idea is like milk is actually another ingredient to create a flavor transformation in the coffee. So to expect that light roast is going to taste like identically the same as another coffee that's more developed, or it just on its own, is not true. I think the beauty of adding milk, no matter what, whether it's light or medium roast or whatever, is you're looking for that flavor transformation. That's actually a category in US barista competition, is that your coffee should transform in flavor, and then the way and how much you add milk is going to actually impact is it pleasant? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it just undrinkable? Right. So I don't think it's an abstract, like, okay, light roast should never be in milk or light roast is perfect for milk. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a matter of like understanding how to utilize a specific coffee for a certain beverage. There's definitely probably, I have a hard time. I said definitely probably. So I'm already second thinking myself. I think I would enjoy a light roast espresso in milk. It just has to be done well. And one of the examples of that is like when we did the geisha at the wedding, like when we were dialing in and like our dad was out helping me set up the table. We're doing all the setup. I literally like did a dial in shot. And it was like, I mean, think about it this way. It was a 60 ml shot in a 6.5 ounce cup. So like a cappuccino with milk. And I've never seen Dad drink a coffee so quick
Wow.
on the spot.
Very
Just
nice.
completely chugged it. And that coffee is fairly bright, fairly acidic. I mean, we're tasting cranberry, we're tasting tartness. And our dad, who drinks instant coffee, not instant specialty coffee. What is it? Is it still Folgers or what is it?
Nescafe or
Nescafe,
Taster's Choice?
Taster's Choice from Costco, buying in bulk, baby, dosing that. He chugged this light roast with milk. And to me, that's a testament to the fact that, like, if it's done properly, if you're using all of your ingredients well, it can taste good, but it's not a one fits all.
Yeah, I think I'll play a little bit off of that ingredient concept. I think I think pairing it as an ingredient also, I mean, this could be controversial, but some coffees are going to taste better with milk than others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's simply because each coffee does come with its own flavor profile, flavor experience. Yeah. And if you are blending two ingredients together and, one coffee tastes X, Y, and Z and the other coffee tastes differently, of course they're going to pair differently with milk. And actually, based on that, I think I was always a omni roast kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And now I'm very intrigued by the espresso roast, the espresso blend roast, or the milk-based roast. I'm intrigued by that concept because I do think that, like, when you have filter coffees, you have, as a roaster, you have flexibility and the freedom to go to push it a little lighter and not be afraid about thinking, oh man, how's this going to taste in a cafe in a 12-ounce latte or 16-ounce latte, where somebody might be like, you might get some complaints about, oh, this is weak, or this doesn't taste like anything, or that's what I hear from time to time. People drink, a 12-ounce latte and are like, well, I can't taste the coffee in here, or it's too weak, or whatever that they're trying to get across. So I think having a filter roast does give the roaster more opportunities to push the coffee one way. And then, roasts that are more espresso roast or designed to be paired with milk, I think you can cater to that a little bit. You can develop the flavors in a unique way that might bring out a little bit more oomph in an espresso and milk combo. So I don't know. I think overall, like, light roast can taste very nice in milk, but I am starting to be a little intrigued by this espresso roasting. Not to say that Mir should start having an espresso roast. I'm not
imagined in my wildest dreams to hear you say that.
I know things are changing. So but yeah, I do see the value. I do see the value
I agree.
in having a slightly more developed coffee that's tailored for that kind of brew method. And that's what espresso roast is. That's what they're trying to go for.
And not to get stuck in the rabbit hole, but I will agree with you on that, because I think the other part of it, as someone who's like managed cafes, I was a barista for a long time, like, there is a beauty behind an espresso that's super forgiving. There is. And I think solubility and roast level really play a major role in that. So you can't throw the baby out with the bath water and just say, like, all of, like, these medium, a little more developed coffees, like, don't have a place. I think in a high volume cafe where you're just, serving traditional coffee, I think it has a very big spot. And I think it's beautiful being a barista in that like context, and not having to worry if your shot is a second off of dial,
Yeah, 100%. We've talked about that for a while, that it's not a bad idea to have in a cafe behind bar. I don't think specialty cafes should be shying away from slightly more developed, espresso option for their guests. But all right, so last one, that light roast is for coffee snobs or is elitist.
That's a hard one, right? That's a hard one. And I mean, even the context of something like being like elitist or separate, or like separatist, or not accessible for everyone. I mean, specialty coffee in itself could be put in that category, can be. I'm not saying it should be, I'm not saying it has been, but it can be. But I think especially when light roast can be labeled as something like Nordic roast, and tends to lean towards the example of how people roast in Europe. I think that's where the bad like rap of like light roast being elitist, I think that's where it comes from, because it's quote unquote this special style of roast for like classic white man, like, you know what I mean? But I don't think that's like necessarily true, because at the end of the day, it's like you can't label a level of roast on a spectrum that makes someone's flavor preferences to be separate from others. Like, I don't think it's a fair label. I don't think it's an accurate label. I think there may be a perspective, and because of like people who are super like passionate about coffee tend to come off as snobby.
Yes.
I think there's that perspective. I think a lot of it has a lot of nuance, and there's a lot of perspective going on there. So if someone is like super passionate, they start throwing out these big words. They're not really even big words. You just might not know them. All of a sudden, you're categorizing like, oh, you know, they're this person that looks like this, that makes money like this, that acts like this. And all of a sudden, they actually like light roast. And you're creating this picture around it. And I think we do that as humans. We do that with a lot of things. And I think one of the things is, you know, light roast also, and stop me whenever you want to, because I can keep going on. Light roast also tends to have a higher price tag. So it hits a different socioeconomic demographic. And then the people that buy coffees with a higher price tag tend to have more expensive equipment. And if they have more expensive equipment, they probably have a different style and size of house. And all of a sudden you're going through this demographic where like, oh, those people are this. And just because I don't have these things, I don't deserve to drink light roast, which isn't true.
Right. Or like that, you know, light roast is for some cool kids, some exclusive club, or, you know, for coffee snobs, you know, like, I don't know, you know, I get a part of where they're coming from, and I know not all coffee enthusiasts have made it really easy for friendly and accepting. I get that. There's some bad behavior out there from our light roast friends. However, on the other hand, you know, what we're talking about really is just flavor. Preference. It's like, we have a lot of people that are outside of the coffee industry, our friends, that just enjoy light roast, but they're like just the pot, you know, make a morning cup of joe and they're ready to go, and they just like light roast for maybe some of the flavor qualities of it, and that's it. They probably don't even know, you know, your burr size in their grinder or all the nitty gritty. You know, they just want coffee that they enjoy, and they happen to enjoy something a little lighter, and that's it.
Yeah, that's
it. And we have plenty of friends like that. So lately, I was making some coffee behind bar, and somebody ordered like a 12-ounce latte that got misrepresented for having 2 shots in there. Mm-hmm. And we made the beverage, and I was like, hey, you should just give that a try and let me know what you think. We can remake it if you don't like it or something. And so she tasted it. She's like, is this, you know, I normally like drink light roast coffee because it just tastes a little, it's not as intense and as bitter. I don't. And I was like, hey, like, this is light roast actually. And I realized like, oh, like it's just like a lot of coffee because we put 2 shots in there.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because she knows nothing about, like, from my understanding, she doesn't know very much about coffee, and she's not like a coffee enthusiast or snob, but she preferred the light roast experience because, I mean, for actually very valid reasons. Like, it's a little lighter. It's a little easier on the palate. It's more consumable. It's not as bitter and aggressive in the mouthfeel and the flavor experience. And I was like, actually, that was just very interesting. Like, I was like, I would never think so, but that is a very good reason why you should like light roast.
Yeah, I would say 100%. And I think it's just, in general, I think we just need to toss out a lot of labels. Like a lot of the times labels are just not helpful, whether let's like, oh, my experience and my preconceived idea is this equals this. Like I think there's a lot of wisdom in just being a little more open-minded, whether open-minded about light roast, open-minded about dark roast, or open-mindedness around the fact that like certain classifications of people drink certain coffees. Like I think we just need to like give a little more grace for all of that and just have this more inclusive mindset to get rid of these myths, to get rid of these ideas. Like, yeah, that's about it. I can keep on going on, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
There it is, folks. Sergi's gonna leave it at that. So we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this light roast myth busters. And remember, as we always say, reflect what's good.